Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Sorry, a little bit late getting live. StreamYard wasn't allowing us to go live. We were pressing live and it was saying error. So we are sorry, but I'm joined by Potsy. I'm joined by LB here on Tuesday. Loads to talk about. Some big news in the transfer market. A big hijack from Manchester City and Liverpool in relation to Gyökeres has been reported. We're looking at Florian Wirtz. City have pulled out. Are they letting Pep down slightly? But Liverpool are pushing hard for that deal as well. We're looking at Rodrygo. The price has reportedly been set for Arsenal to make an attempt. We're looking ahead at the big Europa League final tomorrow. Who's coming out on top? But I wanted to start. We have to start because it's, he bottled it, and didn't bother doing a watch along on Saturday. He said he went to the game, but I don't know if I believe him. But LB, Palace, the underdog story. They beat you at Wembley. 2 FA Cup final defeats on the bounce for City and Pep. Pep, the first manager ever to suffer that that record, not humiliation, that record. How you feeling, mate?
Oh, lads, it's been a tough year. It's been a tough year, but it is what it is. You got to have a little bit of a dip, haven't you? You can't just win everything every year. You know what I mean? Laughing at everybody else. Do you know what I mean? I forgot what it's like to feel cooked. And this week and this season has been a humbling experience. This week has been a humbling experience. And listen, I'll hold my hands up, boys. I'll take the cooking because I've been dishing out cookings for the last 4 or 5 years. You know what I mean? So I accept it. I hold the L. We are trash at the moment. Can't score against Palace. Can't score against Southampton. We're struggling everywhere on the pitch. Pep's tactics are weird. The players ain't good enough. Then we hear about Wirtz. That's another L. Just holding L's on the daily. I can't lie. So it is what it is. Feel free to cook me, boys. I'll take it like a man, and then we can cook Chelsea in it.
No, we gave you we can cook Chelsea. We gave you a cooking last night on my show, to be fair, and I must say you took it well. And I like to have a little bit of awareness of where my club's at as well, and I think Terry is one of those guys to do the same. Having said that, Terry can actually win a trophy this season, and me and LB can't. However, I'll say this: I actually genuinely do. That is wild,
mad.
That was never something I thought would have been the case. I'll say this: I'm not going to cook Man City. They've had the best part of a decade where they've destroyed most people's lives, and if I'm honest with you, they haven't really ruined they ruined a couple of seasons last season, maybe the season before, but I didn't expect to win the league on one of them. And last season, it really did annoy me. However, they haven't destroyed my last decade like they have Liverpool's. But I wonder where they go next. I'd love to get both your thoughts on this. LB's especially because he's a City fan, but Terry's as well, because I don't know that it is going to be a quick fix now. Mm-hmm. I thought at the start, yeah, do you know what? A couple of players are a little bit old now. They'll just refresh it and they'll go again. The recruitment's been bad for quite some time, to be honest. And because the players were so good in and around it, and I'm talking Foden of last year, KDB of the last few years, David Silva's of his kind, Bernardo Silva's of his time, Rodri. We've got these players that we've looked at, and you think, yeah, it doesn't really matter about the Dokus and the Grealishes so much. It doesn't really matter who you've got up top. It doesn't really matter at the back because they're all pretty good and all kind of versatile. Now it's got to that kind of, the recruitment needs to be looked at, because what should have been is you should now be having the Dokus and the Mateus Nunez's and the likes becoming those next players, and they've not been. So I think now what you have to look at is, has the recruitment been great? And I was posed this question yesterday and I kind of poo-pooed it and thought, I just rolled my eyes. But maybe it is a serious question. Has Pep been a bit found out? Was the question that I was being asked. Ooh. Has his tactics been a bit found out? Has he now got to evolve into a new system? Not new system, but you know what I mean? Has he got to work out how to beat some of these teams? Arsenal have been a bit the same. Not that we play in a similar style, particularly not this season, but certainly when it comes to a low block, Mikel Arteta struggles. And I think it's quite easy, to be honest. Mm-hmm. So if I'm honest with you, bro, I don't see a quick fix for Manchester City like I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. I was one of those that said all they're going to need to do in the summer, after spending 180 million, whatever it was in January, they'll go and spend another 200 odd in the summer. They'll get the players in and they'll go. But they have actually spent quite a lot of money.
Let me come on to that because you said a lot there. Let me respond to some of that. Yeah. So I have come round to believing that this rebuild is probably not going to be as easy as I initially anticipated. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because there is so much to do. Since the treble year, we have neglected the squad. We've neglected it badly. We've not done enough signings. So last summer we only signed 2 players. One was Savio, one was Gundogan. We've not signed enough players, and we've not signed enough good players. If you look at the in fact, let me put it up here so I know what I'm actually talking about. Here we go. All transfers, right? So since the treble year, we bought Gavadio, hit. Nunes, not a hit. Doku, not really a hit. Kovacic, I put him on not a hit purely and simply because he's like a squad rotator. He's not going to elevate us to the next level. Yeah. We've also signed Savinho, not a hit in terms of like right here, right now. Maybe in the next year after, maybe it could be, but right here, right now, no. We've signed Ilkay Gundogan, same as Kovacic, no. And then we've signed Mamouche, who I think is good. Nico Gonzalez, not getting in the team, so he's another no. Huzanov is young, not in the team right now, and Hayes. So since the treble year, effectively what I'm saying is we've signed 2 players, which have like elevated the team or can come in and keep the team at the same level. Every other player is either young and needs to develop, which is cool. You need a couple of them around the squad. Yeah, every team needs some youth, like, to develop. Old and just like a squad rotator, like a Gundogan or a Kovacic. And again, you need 1 or 2 of them around the squad. Arsenal have Jorginho. We've got Gundogan. You need 1 or 2 of them. And then you've got the others like the Gonzalez, who's not really settled in and stuff. So essentially, we've signed 2 like elevators or 2 players that have took us up a level. Simultaneously to all of this, Kevin De Bruyne has declined because of his age. Gundogan has declined because of his age. Foden has fallen off this year. I don't know what's happened to him. Rodri done his ACL. Yeah. Edison don't want to be here. Kyle Walker's gone from being the best fullback or one of the best fullbacks in the world to leaving halfway through the season. Ake can't stay fit. Stones can't stay fit. Yeah, I'm not using injuries as an excuse here. What I'm trying to say is the squad management since the treble year has been diabolical, really. And that is why the club invested that money in January, and that's why they need to invest money in the summer. And my fear, and it's only a fear, is that there's too much to do in this summer transfer window, and we'll be sitting here, I don't know, December time, doing these shows going, I think, this is another transition year. We're going to need 1 more summer. And that's because we've let the squad decline. When you're on top, you have to keep on top. When you get there, you have to keep investing. You have to keep improving the squad. And unfortunately, the harsh truth for City, and for me as a City fan, and for every other City fan out there, is that we've simply not done that since the treble year. Last year, we won the league, and obviously you can't take that away from us. But effectively, we were carried by 2 players, Rodri and Foden. Rodri dropped a Ballon d'Or year performance, and Phil Foden dropped a Premier League Player of the Year performance. Yeah, the squad still wasn't great because it declined from the treble year. So, we'll have to see. I'm hoping and praying.
You want more players than Pep, though, right?
Bro, I've been on these players since early, bro. Yeah, my first video that I did back in October when I realised we was in the mud, because I clocked this early, I read that in October. I said it's the players. The players are not good. Now, coming to the point about Pep Guardiola, and then I'll let you have your views. Pep needs to change his style. But Pep's changed his style loads of times since he's been at City. We've gone from the Sterling Sane days of fast, pacey wingers. We had Mendy, we had Walker, fullbacks flying down. We went from that to the treble year, which was ultimate control. Ake and Walker and Akanji at fullback, Mahrez and Grealish at wingbacks, completely the opposite. So sometimes I hear these people say, "Oh, can Pep change? Can Pep's already changed. Pep's already adapted his team plenty of times during his tenure at Manchester City, but he needs to change again next year. Me personally, I believe what he needs to do is get wing backs at this football club, players who can get down the wings and get crosses in from fullback positions, because at the moment it's wingers or bust. If our wingers don't perform, we're cooked.
Do you know what's interesting? On the first part about cooking Man City, like, I'll have a little bit of I didn't know. I wanted Palace to win because they'd never won a trophy before. It had nothing directly to do with it being City and being a rival. Of course, I don't want a rival like City that is winning trophies, been winning trophies by the dozen almost for the past 8-9 years. I don't want you to keep winning. I don't want you to keep picking up trophies, because eventually, if the next 10 years repeats itself again and again, you'll surpass us at some point. I know you're still a long way behind our total trophy haul, but in 10 years' time, that could look very different. So I'm happy from that regard. There's some players to I don't even call it cooking City. I'm not cooking City. I'm talking what I think to be facts. I think that Pep struggled this year because he hasn't had the best squad in the Premier League. For all the reasons you've mentioned, LB, I agree with. I was talking about this last night. I'm not blaming Pep. It's not a dig at Pep. He's just never been in this scenario. He inherited a very good Barcelona squad and made it better. And they were probably the best team. You know, there's a few from the 70s that might argue this, but a lot of people still put that Pep Barca team as the greatest club side of all time. He then moves to Bayern Munich, where they have a financial monopoly and a squad dominance monopoly over every single team in Germany, and they have done for decades. And even when they weren't good enough for the Champions League, they still dominated at a domestic level. He came to England. First year, he was getting his feet under the table. The recruitment was amazing. Some other big clubs, like generally like Chelsea, they fell off after the first year he was here. United have never really mounted a challenge. Liverpool pushed them hard, but that team that he had was amazing. The recruitment, as you say, has been poor. Massive players have dropped off. It's been poor in comparison to the previous time. And I think where Pepper struggled is the way he gets his teams to play football. And you're right, there's adaptations. He needs top-class players. He isn't, for me, like a Jose that can go, do you know what? I can win a Champions League with a Porto. Do you know what? I can take an Aberdeen and make them, the Cup Winners' Cup champions and break the stranglehold of the two more financially dominant teams. And I'm not taking that away from Pep, and maybe he can get himself to that point. It's because he's never had to learn to do it, because he walked in at Barca and smashed it day one. He didn't have to do the apprenticeship at the smaller clubs, at the lesser clubs, and develop that know-how. And I think it is a different know-how. I think when you find, players that are always in clubs in relegation battles, they're more battle hardened to those types of games compared to someone that's always been in teams that wins, which is the famous example of Sol Campbell. Remember when he joined Notts County and it lasted like 2 games and he had to leave? Players that have been at the top, it's so hard for them to go down to that level because it's cold water in the changing rooms, they're changing in car parks, the standard's so low, it's very hard for them to kind of readjust. So I wouldn't even say it's about cooking City. It's just about pointing out what the actual problems are. The recruitment this summer has to be amazing for Pep, because at the end of the day, you're in the Premier League where there isn't a monopoly in the way there is in Spain with the 2 big sides, the way there is in Germany with Barcelona, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea. If they get it right this summer, these teams can catch you quickly and leave you behind quickly, because you're not the only side with money. You're not the only team with pull. If Man City if we were like Germany and Man City were the team that had all the money compared to everybody else, even in a year where you drop off, you'd still win the league most likely. And then you slowly build back to the top. So I think you're absolutely spot on. There's a lot of recruitment that's needed, and it needs to be at the very highest level. Where my concern is for City, and this is me being objective, is the reasoning and the rationale for pulling out the Wirtz deal. I know it's hard to convince him to not stay in Germany, but pulling out, what I read yesterday is there's too much money. And I'm sitting there thinking, but money, I don't know about you. For me, that sounds like bullshit.
I did a stream on this yesterday. I think that is PR for we've been rejected. This is a football club that pays Haaland £500,000 a week. We didn't spend anything last summer. Yeah, they go on about telling how much money they make. This is not a football club that usually has ever had a problem with money. So I personally don't believe it. I think it's club PR. I think the guy's just rejected us, which is cool. I think sometimes I've seen some City fans speak about this as well. It's like, if you're going to go in for the very best players in the world, it's a fact of life that you're not going to get every single one of them.
Yeah.
You are going to be rejected. We got rejected by Bellingham. We got rejected by Wirtz. Liverpool got rejected by Bellingham. They got rejected by Caicedo. They've been rejected by... If you're going to go for the very best players in the world, you're not going to land every single target. I personally believe that City got rejected by Wirtz for whatever reason. And rather than just putting that out there and say, he's rejected us, lads, we did our best, but he didn't want to join for whatever reason, we've got to move on. They've spun it and talked about money. This is not a club that's ever had a problem with money, really. You know, we have pulled out of a couple of deals, the Van Dijk deal. There's a couple of other deals that we pulled out of. But I think when we're talking about Florian Wirtz, I just don't believe that for 1 second, personally. I think we got rejected. And I'm cool with that. I'm absolutely chill with that because for me, there is no entitlement of signing the very best players. You win some. We got Haaland. Yeah, we battled Real Madrid. We got Haaland. We battled Real Madrid for Bellingham. We didn't get him. We battled Liverpool and Bayern for Wirtz. We didn't get him. It is what it is. You win some, you lose some. The alternative is you don't try and sign the best players and you go and get the mediocre players who are desperate to play for your football club. But then you don't ever have the top talent. So, yeah, I'm not really that arsed, to be honest, about it.
Who do you think is your next KDB and De Bruyne? Like,
well, I personally, I don't think we should try and replace him directly. I think that's a mistake.
Yeah.
I think that's a mistake. I think the only player in the world that can replace De Bruyne, at a decent level, I think was Florian Wirtz. Now he's rejected us. Yeah, I'm going to say rejected us, but obviously whatever you believe, whatever you want to believe. Now he's rejected us. I believe that the club shouldn't force a number 10 signing. I think we should play with effectively 2 8s. And I think we should make a couple of midfield purchases. Reinders, apparently, is a player that City are looking at, and I reckon that's going to be done. Foden, but obviously he needs to get back on it because this year I just don't know where he's been. He's just been nowhere near the level we need him to be. If Gibbs White's going to be that guy as well, whatever. And maybe you lean on some of your younger players. But I personally don't think, and again, everyone will have their own opinion. I don't speak for all City fans, I speak for myself. I don't think the club should force a purchase of a number 10 for purchasing a number 10's sake. Yeah. Not if they're not good enough.
Just to back you on this, Man United made a mistake from about 2000, from January 2005 until we signed. Well, actually, we started making a mistake before he left, and it took us until we signed Carrick in 2006. We kept on trying to find a like for like replacement for Roy Keane. We tried, God rest his soul, Liam Miller. We tried Jemba, amongst others. We kept on trying to find someone that was good on the ball, had a little bit of bite about them, could make a tackle. So we tried finding the exact identical profile. And the problem is the Premier League before Roy Keane, during Roy Keane's era, and since Roy Keane, there's barely been anybody like him. So what we ended up getting right in the end is we found Michael Carrick, who's a completely different type of holding midfield player.
Changed.
But brilliant in his own right. I've said this about Liverpool. Do not try and replace Mo Salah like for like. You're going to be disappointed. You're better off getting a Bowen, who's a very good right-sided midfield player, and putting all your money into a number 9 like Isak, who can make the goals up, rather than trying to find that right inside forward who's going to be that like for like. It's so hard to do. And it also creates, and I'm seeing City fans do this online, and I think if I offend people, I offend people. I don't care. I think it's people that have decided to be City fans recently, more so than people that remember the hard times. The way I've seen City fans online, this club's falling apart. The standards ain't there. We haven't replaced, criticize, yes, but the way they're talking, it's like, listen, you don't understand English football. Teams have dominated like you guys in the last 8 years. United did it in the 90s and 90s. Liverpool did it in the 70s and in the 80s. But no one's ever done what Real Madrid do, which is just basically you dominate forever. Does that make sense? It doesn't happen over here. There are peaks and troughs. And a really important way to stop that from happening, where you drop off completely, is by not doing that like-for-like thing. We need the new KDB. We need the new Haaland, the new company. That creates an unnecessary... I hate it. It's one of the worst phrases I think you do in football. Oh, we've signed the new Rooney. Shut the fuck up. We've signed Joe Bloggs. I don't want that pressure on the player. It doesn't help either. So, mate, I completely agree with you. Replacing KDB is almost impossible. Why? He's your greatest ever player. He's one of the greatest attacking midfielders in Premier League history. The bar to get to that level to be an actual replacement is so high, it may never happen. And that's not a dig. He was so good you may never. Arsenal haven't had better since Thierry Henry. Man United, we haven't had a better attacker than Cristiano Ronaldo in 2009. We've had good. We've had Van Persie. We had Zlatan. No one was at what Ronaldo's level was. And that's partly, you could say, bad recruitment for us. But even then, how many players have come to the Premier that time that have been better than him? Very few. It's so hard to do. You're spot on, mate. 100%.
Could you pull up the comment from Raz at 404 as a moderator in the chat? I think this is a good point from Big Up Raz, yeah. City need a winger that will finally start banging in goals. No need to replace KDB. When you won the season league last year, he wasn't immense. KDB didn't even play that much last year. He played a little bit more in the second half, but if you remember, his first game of the season, he done his hamstring and had an operation. We didn't see him until like December. So when Klopp said the whole world shakes when De Bruyne's back. I think this is an interesting point, right? Because for me, I think that City, we need to build a team where everyone from midfield to the attack and maybe even your fullbacks have the ability to chip in with goals. And one of our problems this year is if Haaland doesn't score, we're kind of screwed because Doku doesn't score, Savio doesn't score, Gundogan doesn't score. Kovacic has had the best season ever in his career at the age of 31 and he scored 6 goals. Rodri's been out. Gavardio's been one of our most attacking threats and he's a defender. So for me, I'm looking at this going, we can't just rely on Haaland to score and we can't just rely on a KDB replacement to come in, hit the ground running, score all these big goals, get all these assists. I think we need to spread the goals and spread the creativity around the team. So I think for me, the way I'd approach it, and again, this is just my opinion, the way I'd approach it is rather than now looking at an out-and-out KDB replacement, look at just improving the squad as a whole. Let's look at our wingers. Can we get better wingers? Let's have a look at our 8s and the attacking 8. Can we get 2 better 8s? Rodri's coming back, great. You know what I mean? Can we get a better backup to him? Fullbacks. We have no fullbacks at this football club. Not one. We don't have a single fullback. Can we get some fullbacks in? That would be pretty nice.
On that point, there's obviously Arsenal have been linked to him. Rodrygo, I'm talking here. There's reports that have just come out in the last few minutes from Brazilian sources that Chelsea are considering making an offer to Real Madrid. One of the stories we were going to talk about today, it's been published in a few places that there's going to be about a 70 million or an 83 million pound price tag put upon Rodrygo this summer. Is that something you would like City to explore? It looks like Chelsea are looking, looks like Arsenal are looking. Is that the kind of player you think? I know he hasn't maybe been so prolific this year, but I think he's been played out of position. Everything's about trying to get the goals into a certain group of other players. Is he the kind of individual you'd like to see City move to?
I'd be all over that deal. All over that. If he wants out of Real Madrid, he's better than all of our wingers without a shadow of a doubt. Why would we not? Why would we not? If you've got the money available, right? Why would you not go and get him? I think he's a top player. I really do. I think he struggled this year at Real Madrid because of the arrival of Mbappe. Real Madrid haven't been particularly great this year anyway, and I just think that I think he's a very good player. He's playing on the wrong side. He's a left winger playing on right wing, and I just feel that he's a player now that's won everything at Real Madrid. He's only 24 years old, and I feel like if you get him in a team that's like an actual team rather than Real Madrid, where it's like just those 4 guys up top and then, whatever. I feel like he could cook. So for me, I'd be all over that deal. And he improves our team. He's better than what we have. Signings, transfer windows, they're very, very, very easy. The problem is our clubs, my club hasn't really done it that much, but over the last maybe year or two, they have. Arsenal have done it. Popsy will tell you. All these clubs do it. All you have to do in a transfer window is buy better players than you've already got. It's really not that complicated. The problem is, our clubs try and get too smart. Yeah, and I think Arsenal's the best one to look at that. They try and sign these players like Havertz that will outsmart everybody. Like, why the fuck you just buy a striker, mate? Yeah, why we'll go and get this Fabio Vieira. We'll go and get this guy. It's just like you're not signing the better players. You try to be smart. You try to be cleverer than everybody else. That doesn't work. Which is why now Arsenal are being linked with the Rodrigos, they're being linked with the Gyökereses, they're being linked with the Isaks, because you got to the point where it's like, you know what, actually, we should just sign the best players. That's what City did. Yeah, look at the signings City made in the past. Mahrez, one of the best players in Leicester team. Rodrygo, one of the best players in Spain. Laporte, mega. Gavardio, best player for Leipzig, unbelievable player. Haaland, best striker, one of the best strikers in the world. And guess what? We won 4 titles on the bounce, and we won a treble. Yeah, United, when under Fergie, look at the signs he made. Yeah, lost the league in 2012. What did he do? Go and got Robin van Persie from Arsenal. Guess what happened? He won the league. Football is about having the best players. Pep always says it in his press conference. I need the best players. If I don't have the best players, I can't win anything. That is the truth. You need the best players.
This is why there's been a fair amount of punditry from especially the pros. I get the fan content, right? I get fan content because we're emotional, and I get the fans are like, I don't want Arteta to get any more money. I get the rivals that want to say, oh, they spent 600 million, 700 million. Well, we all do this to each other's clubs. We always add an extra couple of million, a couple of 100 million. Oh, he's had nearly 800 million. You know, he shouldn't get any more money. Yeah, fans are meant to say these things. The weird bit for me is the media now that do this. It's like, well, Arsenal spent 600 odd million. They shouldn't really be spending anymore. They've got to start winning. I just find this such a deluded notion. You always have to keep spending. Whether it works or whether it fails, you have to keep trying to buy the best. There's a limited amount of, there's a handful of clubs. Man United get this a lot. Ruben's getting it right now. How about you coach your players and make them better? And why was that not being said by the same pundits when City dropped £200 million, by the way, correctly in January? Clubs and managers will buy flops. The only way to rectify buying a flop is to buy a better football player. Equally, I agree with you so much. Stop trying to be smart and stop trying to be clever. Yes, there's always a signing or two out there that you don't expect to be brilliant or maybe that nobody's heard of, and you do that. But
take a punt, yeah.
Exactly. But for me, when I look at what United are doing at the moment, when I look at the main players we're linked to, Cunha, Gyökeres, Delat's one where it's a bit more of a punt, but it's cheap. Brian Mbomo is someone we're looking at. These are Premier League proven players that are delivering that you know are going to, is barring it going horribly wrong, there is a good chance they improve Manchester United. Arsenal this summer. It's funny how they go out for the first time and look, we've got to see what they deliver. But it's funny how they hire someone who's got a genuine pedigree as a sporting director and they're suddenly not linked to a flop at Man United who Arteta might turn round. They're not suddenly linked to some obscure striker that scored 4 goals in the last 9 months when he's the main guy in the team. It's Gyökeres. It's Rodrygo as an example. The Zubimendi deal is getting done and over the line. I know that was kind of done before he arrived, but he's come in and helped get that secured because he understands. And he was probably hamstrung slightly at Atletico because of the money they have. Arsenal are a richer club. Go and get better players. It is so simple. As you say, it's not simple to land them all because you've got competition, but it makes sense. And I'd love Rodrygo at Man United. I don't think we're going to have the pull for that with where we currently are. But I think if Arsenal are the only English team that go for him and City look elsewhere, if Chelsea don't get involved, I think you're all mental. I think he's such a talented player. And it hasn't been a great year. But I want to give you this stat here because this is important. 39 goal contributions in 64 Champions League games. For a man who isn't the main guy at a football club, I think he is thriving to be that. But what you get with Rodrygo is also a man that works. He'll track back and help you defend. He'll press when he needs to. He's not a prima donna. He isn't the sort of crown jewel of a football team who thinks, well, I don't have to run. I don't have to trek back. I think in an Arteta system, I think in a Maresca system, definitely in Pep's, I think someone like him would come alive and thrive. I actually think he's been hindered more this year when it's been a little bit about get the ball to Mbappe. I think he struggled more in that. Give him a bit more structure. This man will kill it. And at £70 million, if that's genuinely... If that is genuinely correct, fuck me, get all over that. That's cheap. That is £20 million cheaper than Anthony.
Yeah, I agree.
It's an absolute steal. The problem you've got is a lot of these players, they're all wanted by the same clubs because the same clubs all need the same positions. It's mad, to be fair. And Manchester City will be all over Rodrygo, Chelsea will be all over Rodrygo, and Arsenal will be over Rodrygo. Why? Because we all need a left winger. And we need Saka cover, and he can play on both sides, even though he wants to play on the left, and I think he'd be great on the left for Arsenal. That's the one that I want. That would be, for me, the marquee signing. But City have still probably got more chance of getting him than Arsenal, which is crazy because we should be competing with City and be in a better position than them after this season. But you know what City do? City will pay the money, City will get him, and City will win trophies because they have done for the last decade. So he's probably more tempted to still go there. So I think Manchester City should be all over it. Now, if Manchester City were to go absolutely mad this summer, which I've got to be honest with you, LB, I thought you probably were going to. Maybe you still will. If Wirtz ain't happening, let's not rule it out. Maybe you could still get him. I don't know. It sounds like you've left it, and it don't normally go back in, but you never know. Reinders is a baller, bruv. That is a phenomenal signing if you get him across the line, mate. I don't know how much you've seen of him, but he is absolutely brilliant, mate. Really good player. And then you look at that Rodrygo as well. Get a couple of fullbacks, which, let's be real, don't normally need to cost you 80 million each, do they? You could probably get that for both of them. Man City could be back, you know, with Haaland getting the service.
One thing about us as well, bro, is it's like if we can get Rodri and Foden back to 95% of the level.
I was just going to say that.
Year, we'll be in a title race next year, regardless. Now, whether that'll be enough to push us over the line and get the title, maybe not. But like I say to you, yeah, if we would have had a full fit Rodri this year and a Foden like last year, because Foden's been awful this year, how many more points do you reckon City would have had in the league this year?
Great.
12?
Easily.
Oh,
This
well,
is what I mean.
12, if it's 12 points, we're about 5 points behind Liverpool, which proves
Rodri's back now, right, for the next 2 games. Is that right?
Well, apparently so, yeah.
If he plays, you'll see, won't you? You'll see how much you've missed him. Because I think they really have missed him massively. I mean, it's an obvious thing to say. Yeah. I think next season, Rodri coming back into it, you might even see, if that then starts to tick, you might actually see Foden and Haaland improve from that. And I know that sounds mad because Rodri doesn't punt all the balls in, but he's so important to the way you play and your system. It's no coincidence that since you've taken him away, the other players have dropped.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Here's the thing with that, isn't it? Because it's true, yeah. However, it's also the club's fault.
Oh, you haven't replaced him, and you should have for ages.
Yeah, because the gods and the lords above have given us clues, mate. Yeah, when we played in the Club World Cup last year, right? Was it last year? I think it was last year. Yeah, back in like December time or whatever. Rodri went down in that game and held his knee, and he was on the floor for 3 minutes. And the heart of every single City fan stopped beating for 3 minutes, mate, while Rodri was on the floor. Mm-hmm. That should not happen, right? That was a red flag. We should have signed a player. We didn't. Last season, don't know if you guys remember, Rodri strangled Morgan Gibbs-White. Funny enough, the player that we might be signing. Do you remember? He got sent off.
And you didn't win a game for them 3 games.
We got a 3-match ban.
Yeah.
We not only did we not win a game, Potsy, we lost all 3. Not drew 1, lost 2. Not drew 2, lost 1. We lost all 3 games that Rodri didn't play. That's a sign. That was a sign from above.
Hang on, though. I've been told all year that injuries aren't an excuse.
No, injuries are not an excuse.
I'm winding you up.
That's the fucking point I'm making. Is we got given the biggest possible fucking warning sign from above. They were like, lads, you're playing risky games here. I'm going to give you a couple warning signs. Bang, Rodri goes down, holds his knee. Everyone shits himself. No signing. Bang, Rodri gets a red card. 3-match ban. Lost every game. And we still didn't sign anyone in the summer. Like, there's only so much that the world will point out a problem before it goes, nah, you guys are taking the mick, mate. Like, you got to hold that. Bang, ACL. He's out for the season. Season's a mess. Yeah? I believe in karma, me. Yeah, genuinely, yeah. I do believe in karma, yeah. And I believe that the world give us warning signs. We put our 2 middle fingers up at the warning signs and went, nah, we're all right. And then they went, right then, let's see how you like this. Bang, ACL, cooked, season's over.
Mate, listen, recruitment is where I agree. Injuries play a part in a manager and a team maybe not being able to win a trophy in a particular season. Who don't get a pass in that regard are the people that help to build the squads, the people, the hierarchy that run a football team. And I said the same thing when Klopp was complaining, injuries have killed us. Well, that was on FSG, and between you and FSG not building a strong enough squad over, especially when you've been at a club 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And your point there about Rodri is key. Your recruitment has been poor, as you pointed out, and then a player like him goes down, and you just don't have adequate replacements. And that's why I think this is going to be such a busy summer transfer window. I think a lot of clubs have learned. We can't just get away. We can't get away with it. You have a couple
Arsenal
of
done the same thing, Terry, with Saka. they done
Yep,
exactly. So basically,
exactly.
they did what we did, right? We went out there, yeah, and got the cheap option, which was Gundogan on a free, as the Rodri replacement, right? That's just not worked, yeah. Arsenal, Saka, what did they do? Cheap option, Sterling on loan. Our clubs both took the cheap options, yeah, didn't do what we should have done, and we both paid the price. Now, funny enough, Liverpool did absolutely nothing and managed to win the league, so work that one out, yeah. But it's just like, bro, you've got to do what you've got to do, man.
But do you know what will happen? Say Liverpool went, oh, we ain't signing. They're not, by the way. They're working hard on Wirtz. They've got Frimpong. They're pushing for Gyökeres, although there has been a report today that's come out that has stated that Liverpool will be rivaled by Man City for Gyökeres. Liverpool are the front runners, but they're yet to bid, and City have inquired. So maybe you guys will hijack that deal. But Liverpool are signing players. But if Liverpool did
have an unbelievable summer,
say Liverpool went, do you know what? We'll bring in a replacement for Trent because he's leaving, but we're just going to go again. As you say, whether it's the football gods, whether it's just tempting fate, whether it's just chance, they suddenly lose 2 players to injury. If they literally this season had Van Dijk and Salah missing for long periods, they may still have won the league because other teams dropped off so that the points gap may be closer. But they weren't winning the league in February. It would have been a title race up until today. And that's the same for every team. But recruitment is key. And you're right with Liverpool. I mean, they are looking, if they pull off these targets, this team going into next season with Frimpong, with Gyökeres, potentially Wirtz, and maybe a striker. There's a lot of talk now they might go for Šeško as opposed to Isak, who again, and I think they're perfect for a Šeško. I heard what the Liverpool fans said last night. I want a ready-made striker. I get it. But if your fullbacks are ready-made, Mo Salah's staying, Van Dijk staying. Wirtz is young, but he's kind of there already, right? He's playing at a very high level already. I think you've got room for a striker like Benjamin Šeško, and they try comparing him to
right, Terry, right? They get Frimpong, that's a brilliant signing. If they get Gyökeres, I didn't know City were in for him as well. I thought he was going to go to Liverpool. Might have still happened. They go for Gyökeres, that's a brilliant signing. They've both basically now just got their Trent Alexander-Arnold and their Robertson replacements. Whether they're going to be as good as them one day, who knows? They're going to upgrade on Szoboszlai with Florian Wirtz. If they get Šeško up top, whether you love him or hate him, I don't think he's good enough. He's better than Jota because Jota's never ever fit, right? And he's definitely better than Darwin Núñez, right? So that's also an upgrade. They're also looking at Adam Wharton for 60-odd million. They start getting these players in. Liverpool are massive favourites. I mean, they're already favourites as things stand, of course, because no one's done anything. They would be massive favourites. Like, real talk. Like, it's crazy. And I think Liverpool could be serious. But we already know. Look at the chat. Every few minutes, people are putting in stuff. This is going to go mad, this summer. It's going to go mental.
It's already started. Man United have basically got Cunha done. That will be announced very cleverly. We're not going to announce anything until after this final. You know, it will be a softener to a bad blow or added to the party. Liverpool have got Frimpong done already as an example. I think Chelsea and City are going to sign players before the World Club Cup, which starts in like 3 weeks because that mini window.
We're going to do as well. I think Arsenal are going to.
Yeah, Arsenal definitely going to win. We're going to come to some super chats in a minute, people. We'll come back. I'm not ignoring them. We'll come back to. No, we'll start some of them now, and then I'll come back to an Arsenal point here. This year from Pav says Berta will definitely jump all over the Rodrygo deal if he is available. We definitely will win the league with Rodrygo, Gyökeres, and Saka. If that was your front three, would you be more confident of getting over the line, Potsy?
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. I think they're better than Havertz and Martinelli, aren't they? Yeah, no one would disagree with that. So for me, Gyökeres and Rodrygo, for me, would be 2 marquee signings. Like the Rodrygo one would remind me of when Wenger was able to get players from Barcelona and Real Madrid. You know, like he got Sanchez and Ozil. That's what Arteta has not done yet. I mean, Declan Rice was a brilliant signing, but it was from West Ham. It wasn't like, wow, they just walked into Real Madrid and took their guy. That's what I think that would be. And Gyökeres, I just want him. He's a bagsman. He's well worth taking a punt on. I think he'd be brilliant. They're both going to score goals and create, and that's something we ain't done. So for me, yeah, I would absolutely love that as our front three, bro. And he'd have to win the league with that front three, for sure. For sure.
So the pressure would mount. Did LB just just say being smarter than everyone else doesn't work. You don't all just have unlimited money. Liverpool is proof of outsmarting the market.
Look, Liverpool have done well with their business.
Did Liverpool outsmart the market? They didn't outsmart the market. They didn't buy anyone.
Well, Liverpool didn't buy anyone, but I think we sometimes go on like Liverpool haven't spent any money on their side. Like, I don't get this. We always seem to think that Liverpool have just bought people for pennies.
Yeah.
Liverpool spent a hell of a lot of money as well, right? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they haven't spent that much money. But I look at what they have bought from them players, and I think, wow, apart from Trent, who come through, how many other?
Bro, they did. I've got it here, bro. So last year, they spent 42 million quid on Dashvali and Chiesa. So nothing really. The year before that, 172. Year before that, 145. Year before that, 100. Year before that, 90. Year before that, 10. Year before that, 200. 180. Like, it is a bit of a myth. And the thing is, about Liverpool is they didn't try and outsmart the market. They just didn't do anything. That's just not the same.
And equally, to defend LB, yes, they did brilliant work with the kind of Moneyball theory when getting the Manes and the Salahs. That wasn't the example that LB was giving. He wasn't talking about a player currently in. I think if Liverpool would have signed Salah directly from Chelsea when his confidence was low, when he wasn't playing well, he wouldn't have been the same player. What they haven't done, Liverpool, is gone to Man United. Forget us because we're the same clubs. They haven't gone to who's struggling. They haven't gone to Everton and gone, give us Calvert-Lewin. They haven't gone to a team where a player. They haven't gone to Spurs and gone, listen, we'll turn Richarlison into that world-class talent everyone thought he could be 5-6 years ago. That is what LB was referring to. He isn't saying don't be smart by finding a player. Liam Delap could be that for Man United. You know, £30 million. These are his numbers. These are the underlying stats. He fits that system in this way. He'll be a year. Like, he could come to Man United theoretically, bang in 15+ league goals, look amazing, and everyone says 30 million. Wow, that can happen. If the lap though had 2 years in the Prem and looked shit, and then we were dropping £50 million on him, that's not the same thing. TJD in defense there of LB. Best deal for us would be Rodrygo for Saliba swap deal.
No, man, I can't be having Saliba, bro. My goodness. But they were talking earlier, weren't they, about Enzo being a swap deal. Would Saliba be a swap deal? Look, if you're asking me, would I rather have Saliba or Rodrygo? I would have Saliba, because if you're getting Rodrygo, then you just got to go and fill an impossible gap to try and find the next Saliba. So yeah, I wouldn't do that.
I agree. This here from Aya says, LB saying the transfer market is easy, exposing what I've been suspecting him of suffering from all along, the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect is essentially when somebody, the words of it are a little bit harsh, someone that doesn't have an understanding of the expertise required to be successful in a particular field. So someone that says, I could drive a Formula One car, it's easy. They have a massive amount of confidence. Right, okay. Never done it. Then what you get are people that have tried it and they've got no confidence because they realize how hard it is. And then you get experts who they have a high confidence, but their confidence is never as high as someone that's never tried it who thinks it's easy. The Dunning-Kruger effect.
That's just absolute waffle. Yeah. That's waffle, because I'm correct in saying what I'm saying. Every Arsenal fan, whether they're Arteta in, Arteta out, agrees with me that they should have bought a striker last year. Every Arsenal fan agrees with me that they should have got proper backup for Saka rather than try to outsmart the market and get Sterling on loan who's been finished for 5 years. Everyone. So I don't know what you're talking about, bro. This is waffle. Everyone knows Martinelli's not good enough for Arsenal to start week in, week out.
I'm going to defend LB again here. I think we're crossing paths. LB hasn't said it's easy to build relationships with agents and clubs, to negotiate contracts, to convince players to join. That element is what's difficult. What LB said was easy is that you need to be aiming to consistently buy players that you can see are better. So, for instance, would Arsenal have been in a better position the last 2 years if they went and got Isak instead of Kai Havertz? The answer is most likely yes. Would they have been better if they'd have signed one of the best strikers in the world 2 years ago instead of Kai Havertz? The answer is yes. So he's talking about the theory element. Man United going to get Cunha it's It's obvious business. He's a much better player than what we've got. He's a very good player, and he should improve us. What LB didn't say is the mechanics of getting that done are easy. I think there's two different conversations there, Aya, as opposed to what you're challenging. I respect your challenge. I respect the super chat. I haven't actually heard anyone mention the Dunning-Kruger effect in a long time. You get a lot of... It's a real thing, and we all do it to a certain degree. I was actually listening to a podcast the other day, and it was about men and things that all men think they're amazing at. And it's things like every man thinks they're a proper driver, as an example. Every man thinks, I could hit a bullseye. I could hit a hole in one or whatever. Like, there's certain things as men, we all sort of think, I played sport at school, I could do that. And then you try it and you go, shit. But I don't think that's what LB was doing personally. That's not my interpretation. LB is spot on. These are the margins that left Arsenal behind. We never put our hand in for the best that's available. Imagine Saka has 3 more like him.
Yeah, look, that's absolutely facts. I think what LB's saying is spot on, by the way. I don't know why people are starting to get all funny with it. I think it's been a madness.
Because they want to defend the club no matter what happens. That's why. They can't ever accept that their club might have made errors.
Made an error.
My club has won 4 on the bounce. I can still accept it's made errors. It's not going to kill me. But some people are simply unable to accept that their club has made mistakes. So then they bring out this waffle about random effects and all this kind of waffle. Like, bro, you bought some shit players instead of buying good players. That's literally it.
Yeah.
This year from Mohit, he says Pot speaks positive about every club other than Arsenal.
Maybe it's because everyone's winning stuff and we're not. If we start winning stuff, I might get more positive about it, Mohit. Do you know what I'm saying? If we win a trophy, just one would do, it'd be nice. Otherwise, we've got to see Glasner winning, Eddie Howe winning, potentially one of Amorim or Ange winning, and Arteta is still taking win the dog for a walk. So let's actually go and win a trophy. That's all I say. But cheers for the super chat.
Rob here says, would Arsenal signing Eze not be a marquee signing because he's from Palace and not 80 million from Madrid? No, it would be you may not call it marquee. It all depends on your subjective interpretation of that phrase. However, Eze is a better attacking midfield player from an output perspective, match-winning performances. Look what he's done in big games, semi-final, final of the FA Cup. I think he goes into Arsenal and makes them a better team. Definitely a better squad. So he may not have that marquee value that a Rodrygo would have or signing Isak would have, but he fits into that category exactly what LB is saying. He would make Arsenal better. He would make United better. I think he'd make City better. I think he's a very, very good player, Eze. And I also believe, just like Elise, put him in a team with better players around him, and I think you see an even higher level from the man. I really, really do.
I think he'd be a brilliant signing. Sorry. Eze. I love it. Eze. Yeah. Absolutely love Eze at Arsenal. Love him.
LB, something broth.
Liria Batani broth? What's that?
I don't know what that is. Must be some kind of...
What is with these super chats? So can you guys not speak properly or what?
Luria?
Must be a salty soup. That's what I think he's trying to say that you are, mate.
Well, I'm Googling what this thing is now. It's a broth. Oh, it's actually a drug. It's a...
What?
Its primary use is to grow bacteria.
No, you guys are moving mad in the chat. I can't lie. What the hell, man?
I don't know.
It's easy to rattle the chat, though, isn't it? It is easy to rattle them.
City
I've not even rattled. I've not even said anything. I've been on my best behaviour today. I've not even spoke about Chelsea once. I don't even think I've cooked Arsenal or anything. I'll get started, man. If you guys want a bit of a beef and a little bit of a battle chat, yo, when are we getting onto the Chelsea section, man? I'm ready for this Chelsea section.
Do you know what? With the Chelsea
stand-up. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, it's just Chelsea's not in the news at the minute. It's kind of weird. It's nice.
We'll make him in the fucking news on this show. I got things to say about Chelsea, mate. I can't lie.
Terry Tibbs here says, not happy Sesko to Liverpool via... Yeah, I've seen that, Terry Tibbs. I think Sesko's a really talented player. I really, really do. Which one of my children's opened my office door? Oh, they've left me a picture. Thank you.
Would you agree, though, Tel, that Gyökeres for Arsenal would be better than Sesko?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think
that would be the better way around.
Look, and there is a story today that's come out of Portugal, another one that says Arsenal have reached a £59 million agreement to sign Gyökeres between the clubs. The deal could be The deal could be official next week. I honestly, I'm so annoyed that Arsenal could end up getting this player. I really hope that if Man United can win tomorrow night, I really hope we can convince him to join us. I think he's special. And I'm not too sure who said it last week. It may have been LB. Definitely someone that, yes, there's question marks over the level of the league. But when you're scoring 90 odd goals in over 2 seasons, I think it was you, right?
That was me,
it was you. Yeah, it's so right. If it was just simple to score that amount of goals, there'd be 2, 3, 4, 5 strikers over a 10-year period doing it. He's still scoring at a level that is ridiculous. And even if his numbers just for goals drop by a third, you're still bringing in somebody that's going to move the needle.
He scored 53 goals, Terry.
And
11 assists in 51 games. The only thing, that could actually stop him from scoring is the actual style of play. And whether, because some players just don't suit a specific style, but there's no way that this guy is going to get in front of goal and just start not scoring. I'm sorry, if you're scoring 53 goals in a season, and people will do the standard thing and throw mad shade on the league, which is, I think, pretty mad these days. Bro, he's going to score goals. The question is will he get the chances? If he gets the chances, he'll score. It's whether or not Arteta's system would prevent him from getting the chances. If Arteta's system lets him thrive, then this guy's going to back.
I don't know who said this. I saw it on TikTok. It couldn't have been a gal because he would never have said it. But somebody said, "I don't want Gyökeres because we don't score. We're not a good transition team." And I'm sitting there and I'm like, "But you would be with players like Isak." Sorry, players like Gyökeres. The reason you're not a good transition team is you get the opportunities, you just never score from them, or you mess them up. You add better forwards. So you add Rodrygo and Gyökeres to your team as you're linked to.
Yep.
I think you become a better team when teams are sitting back against you. Gyökeres is fantastic at scoring goals from nothing. Nothing spectacular. He's not doing flip flaps and drag backs and rainbow flicks and volleying it into the top corner. But what he'll do, because he's got good speed and acceleration and power, is he'll shimmy, he'll drop a shoulder, he'll create half a yard, and he'll get a shot off. And he scores quite a lot from that. But on the transition, if you add Rodrygo and Gyökeres to your team, I think you'll also become a fantastic counter-attacking side. So it's not that don't sign him because we're not good on the counter. It's, you need to sign these players so you become good on the counter. I find the logic almost, it's a bit weird. It's like, I really need, it's like, I can't cook this meal. I can't cook a stir fry because I don't have a wok. Well, buy a wok then. Well, no, can't buy a wok because I can't cook stir fries. But of course you can't cook a stir fry without a fucking wok. Buy the wok. You know what I mean? So I look at it that way. Buy the players that make you better in your attack. It was just flawed logic for me. I'm not too sure. I did see it on TikTok, but that's TikTok for you. But for me, even if he dropped a third of his goals, say he drops a third of his goals, that's still 35 goals a season. So
no brainer.
Even if he drops 50% of his goals, it's still 27 goals a season. And at 50 to 55 million pounds, that is a steal. It's a deal. And I am gutted about this news. And all I'm dreading as a United fan, but excited as a Premier League fan. I'm waiting for that kind of the Ben Jacobs, the Fabrizio, or the Ornstein thing to say it's close and advancing, because then it's almost over. I hope we get him, because I think Man United's form, league position will transform with him. He's out of this world, and I actually think he could become a massive star over here. He's 26, 27, the right age. I'm fucking annoyed if you guys get him. I really am.
Yeah, look, if you do win the Europa League, I hope that doesn't convince him. Even though I want you to win the Europa League for obvious reasons. We'll come on to that in a bit, I'm sure. But for me, I think he'd be phenomenal. I really do. I've been a big fan of him. And I first saw him when he was at Coventry. And the only reason was because I was watching some playoff stuff. And I started looking at it as if it was, this guy's basically taken us to the playoff final. They obviously lost to Luton at the final. And I think he then went to Sporting Lisbon, and Wolves were interested in him. And I know a Wolves fan that was like, yeah, he looks quite good. I'd take a punt on him. And he was at Brighton in his early days, where obviously it wasn't as successful. To do what he's done over there, I mean, it's crazy. Like, there's no one else doing that You know, there really isn't. And people that say this a Portuguese farmers league, well, none of the other strikers are doing anywhere near
He
that.
scored
So,
50 goals.
there you go. There you
You
go.
got
No
you
one
when
wants
people
to-
talk about like the league, it's like, when was the last time a player scored 50 goals for a Portugal team? Like sometimes guys like if you score goals, you score goals, mate. Like you got to stop just doing the whole it's a dead league thing. Like that's just not it, man. I swear.
No, I completely agree. He'll be phenomenal. LB, didn't you guys buy better players in January? You guys recorded more losses within that time than Liverpool did the whole season.
We bought better players, yeah. We're some miles off Liverpool. That's why Liverpool are Premier League champions and Arsenal have not won the Premier League for 20 odd years. Maybe if you actually sign good players, you'd win a Premier League title.
Potsy, Xavi Simons for Odegaard, or LB Almo for the 10 role?
Almost not played more than 1,700 minutes a season for the last 3 years.
I didn't know that.
Good player, rate the player, but he doesn't play more than 1,700 minutes a season for the last 3 years.
Yeah, that ain't
Wow.
no good, man.
I didn't know that, man. That's unbelievable. That's crazy. Xavi Simons is a baller, by the way. I really like him. I don't think he's a huge upgrade on Odegaard, though, if I'm honest. But yeah, I'd like him. I prefer like a Wirtz personally, or I would actually prefer an Eze to Xavi Simons. I think Eze is a baller. I really like him.
Yeah, he's very.
Sounds
very
like someone said
good.
that Man United are after him, though. That's what I just see in the chat.
Well, Eze, yeah, we're linked to him. We're linked to Turkey. I mean, Turkey at £20 million from Lyon.
That's a steal.
Another player. People should.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players available at good prices this year. I think a lot of us have complained. Clearly, players are thinking about this in their deals. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago, every fucker was 100 million. It was like, can't afford him, can't afford him. The amount of players now in that kind of 50 to 70 million pound bracket, and you know that's all of it is 20, 30 million less than you'd be charged normally. That's why I think there's going to be a lot of business done this summer as well.
I'd get Cherky, mate, at City. He's a baller. He's a baller. You know what I mean? Like he's got good numbers on output as well this year. Only 21 years old.
You take Eze, LB? No, you don't like him?
No, I like him. I don't. He's 27.
Would you rather have Eze or Morgan Gibbs-White? I'd take Eze.
Yeah, I'd take Eze as well.
I don't know, man. I think they're both like, for me, they're both just like the level below the top of player I'm looking for. But what I've got to accept is there's not many players on the level that I am looking for.
There's only Wirtz. There's literally Wirtz.
There's only Wirtz. That's why it was like kind of Wirtz or bust, really. So I don't know, man. But that Cherky, he's a baller. He's a good player. I like him. But he's cheap apart. He's only like 30 million or something in it.
20
mil. He's got 20 assists this season, that guy.
Dead league, though, isn't it?
Dead league, as they all say, innit?
Farmers League. Every
league's dead apart from this one, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
And even then, our dead teams that might make it into the Champions League don't deserve a place over these teams. This is the problem with the banter. Banter in football's fine, and I was getting annoyed with it for a long time. It took me a while to realize why I was being annoyed, because I was hearing professional pundits do professional punditry on it, and what that does, fans that go, "Oh, I was only messing," but the pros are saying it's like, it must be right. It becomes a real conversation. It's sickening. Honestly, it's sickening. The stuff I've heard in the last few days is just been crazy. This here says, not sure why LB is not resting. Food is better rested after being cooked by Chef Gordon Deji. Congrats on the podcast, Terry. You've earned it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we made it. We overtook my podcast overtook on Spotify Shannon Sharps yesterday for downloads over the space of a week, and yeah. I think I know a little bit now how musicians feel when they're looking at the charts for their stuff. So I want to thank you.
I know you don't have to answer this, but I think it's interesting. Maybe the chat fact. Do you get paid for podcasts or not? Like, do you get paid off like Spotify or not?
Yes, you do. It's like
an ad revenue.
Yeah, it's like YouTube. So they I mean, if you have a sponsor, it works the same as YouTube. Like when you've had like your VPN stuff, but essentially, there are ads that run on the podcast unless people have got premium. So I've got Spotify Premium.
Yeah, I
So
got Spotify Premium.
Yeah, so the only ads that I hear are the ones that are read in the shows. Like if I listen to Joe Rogan, it's him reading them rather than a random advert. But yes, it's a similar way. But
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. I think so.
I actually genuinely had no idea how like that sort of stuff, because most people have like Apple Music or Spotify. And I actually just, when you said it, I was like, yeah, how does that even work?
Yeah, so if people listen, a lot of people, again, most people when it comes to Spotify have premium. I didn't know this until recently. So what you then get is a bit like YouTube, but barely anyone has YouTube Premium. But when you look at your analytics, it will show you what you got through people that listen through Premium. It's the same difference, but it just takes a while for like the first 3 or 4 podcasts uploaded got like 10 downloads, and then randomly like it's just grown, and then last week it just went crazy. So it's just a different thing. But I find podcasts are easy to understand because on YouTube you're like, well, I like that content, I didn't like that content. And actually that got 1 million views and I got no views. On Spotify you have no idea what anyone got view-wise. So you don't even know what's good and bad. And you Google it. When I first started uploading, I'm like, what is good, what's bad? Some websites will say if you get 5,000 downloads, that's amazing. Others are like, if you're not getting near 200,000, you're shit. And I'm like, well, that don't help. Like, it don't help at all. But yeah, no, I want to thank Super Chat. It's been amazing. If you want to check the podcast out, scan the QR code next to LB's head and go and give us a follow and a little 5-star rating. Hang on. A little trivia for the panel. Which one had more points? Gary Neville's debut at Valencia or the experienced Amorim so far at United?
Gary Neville.
Gary Neville did. He didn't get to a European final, though. He didn't get to a European final, though. But yes, he did do that. He did do that. Potsy is right. Have awareness of where our club is at. I don't think we as Arsenal fans can cook LB because not only have we not won anything, but Eddie Nketiah has now won a trophy.
Nah, but the thing is, yeah, big up Gunners, yeah, but you can cook me in it. All right? Listen, I know you've not won anything yourself, but if I lose a final. Yeah, if a club loses a final, you're allowed to join in the cooking. You know what I mean? Then I will fire back at you, and like I did with that Aya guy before, and say you've not won a Premier League for 20 years, right? But you can cook me, man.
No, that's. I've held back from saying too much until after my final. I'm just not gonna. I don't want to tempt fate. Do you know what I mean?
You know you're gonna win that though, don't you?
Mate,
you're gonna absolutely. I think it'll be 3-0 United.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I hope
it's
so.
Spurs. You're literally playing the best possible team in the world to in a final in terms of like for you. You know what I mean? Spurs. It's the history of the Tottenham, innit? The bottle of FC.
You must.
There is no way I will ever see Spurs win a trophy in my lifetime. They just not built for it. You'll win 3-0. I'm hoping I'm wrong, obviously. Yeah, I don't United win a trophy. I want Spurs to win. I'll be backing the boys in white. Yeah. However, I know for a fact that Spurs are getting cooked on Wednesday.
You must, Terry. You must, mate. You must. Because you know what it's like. You know what it's like. Losing to Spurs in a final. Oh, dear me. Like, if you could lose to anyone, it's just not them, man. Like, it would just be banter for years. It would just, you'll never be able to live that down, mate. They are an unbelievably insufferable bunch when they don't win anything. Imagine if they not only win a trophy, but beat you in the final to win that trophy. My God, that would be
it will hurt losing this final. Of course, getting beaten by an English team and a lot of United fans wouldn't say they're a rival. I think growing up I respect one thing I haven't been a fan of this week is seeing Chelsea fans go on behind Tottenham. I don't care about the era. I don't care about the city. I don't care about the country that you grew up in or were born in. You can support
Why aren't they behind Tottenham? I don't get it.
For me, you can pick to support who you want. I'm not gatekeeping. What I am gatekeeping is that when you pick a team, you inherit its rivalries and you inherit its traditions. For instance, if I start going to America to watch the NFL, I have no right to go, these fucking tailgate parties are shit. Let's stop them. For me, it's that you inherit the culture of that sport, of that club. You inherit their traditions, their chants, their rivalries. You simply, I don't think you become a Knicks fan and, I like Boston. They're nice. No, you're meant to hate them. That's what that sports team do. I have been disappointed seeing some Chelsea and some Arsenal be like, I don't care about Tottenham. They're not rivals. It's all about stopping Man United. I'm like, no. If you don't think they're your rivals, for me, there's a disconnect in your brain somewhere. Did your mum drop you as a kid? I don't know. They're your rivals. You have to. I think you have to. I will never. I remember being a kid when I picked United, and I remember my dad mentioning Man City, and I didn't really know who they were. Really, I was young, and my dad was just telling me like they're Man United's biggest rivals alongside Liverpool, and he went basically, son, like me with Arsenal because he's a Spurs fan. He went, you've got to hate them. And I remember, what is when you guys had like Niall Quinn and the like up front. I used to cheer when you were losing at home. I didn't know nothing about the rivalry, why, or anything, but it was just my dad was saying you've got to hate them. They're your biggest enemies. I can't believe that's not being pumped into Chelsea fans. That Spurs are that Spurs are actually, I think, your biggest historical rival. You've got to want them to lose, and that isn't because that's not because I want your support. It's I just want you to maintain the traditions of your club. It's so important. The man talk about standards all the time, but you're giving up on rivalry. Picking him. But no, on the game, I hope we beat them. I hope we turn up. I hope we smash them 3-0. I don't believe there's no chance of Spurs winning, though. We have been terrible. They've beaten us 3 times on the bounce. We leak goals at the wrong times.
Haven't you got players back and they've got them out?
Well, that's what's giving me a little bit. Again, I want to wait and see their lineup tomorrow. But Xerxes returned today. Our right back Delo returned today. Yoro is fit to play. The only player that may have made it back that hasn't is Delit. But suddenly, from a few months ago, everybody being out injured, barring Lisandro Martinez and maybe somebody else, everybody's back. Mount's back. Shaw's back. Ahmad's back. Delo. The one thing that's giving me a little bit more confidence now is I feel like we're going to have a much stronger bench. And I think in a final, having that stronger bench helps. I actually felt that a little bit at the weekend, strangely, Palace versus City. From an impact perspective, I felt like Palace had a bit more on their bench. I thought that you've got a lot of players on your bench, but I didn't think you needed goals. Your new defenders, Nico Gonzalez, they're not going to help you. Grealish rarely makes an impact, and Foden's had a bad season. I actually felt like what was started that game for City either had to win it or they weren't going to win. I feel like we are going to have the stronger bench, and that I think is a very, very positive sign. And Xerxes being back's lovely as well because he gives us a different dimension in the attack. So we can also play an actual right back in the right wing back role rather than Maz there, which I think helps us, which means hopefully we shouldn't be starting Lindelof at the back. I think all those things are a benefit. But look, I'm predicting us to win. I'm saying 2-1 Man United. We can win. But what I won't do is do that. I'm not doing up the Arsenal Real Madrid thing with 0% chance. There's no way. I can't say that on camera because I'll upset the football gods. I'm not doing it. Spurs can win, but I think United will do it. That's my view.
1-0 United in a stinky final.
Nah, it'll be 3-0, mate.
Really?
Spurs will bottle it.
Don't rate Spurs at all in that final.
I hope and pray that Spurs win. Yeah, but I just don't. And they got like pure injuries, like they're all out as well. I don't think they got any players.
Well, Madison and Kulusevski are missing. Bergvall will definitely return. Outside of that, their main players are all fit and available. Their centre backs, their full backs, their goalkeeper, there's holding midfielders, their strikers.
I just think, Terry, the difference is, United over the last few years have been absolutely rubbish. Yet you've still picked up silverware.
Oh, Bergvall's out, according to Ange.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
We have, but I did say the other day I would swap it for consistency in the league. But yeah,
no, but that's irrelevant for the one-off game. Is United have a history, even in their worst period in Premier League history, of still picking up silverware.
I will be. I said this,
Spurs don't, and I've done for 20-odd years.
I was on the United stand today, and what will make me angry is if we don't turn up in any capacity. If we play quite well and Spurs play quite well on the day and they beat us, I'll be annoyed, but I can accept it because we're both not very good teams. And if we both play well, but they nick it, it's annoying, but I can say we really tried. If we are shrinking violets, if we disappear when you feel that we've had this group have been to European Cup finals together, like the large majority, we've been to League Cup, 2 FA Cup finals together. I do feel we have to make that experience in these moments count against a team that have never played in a final together, a club and a fan base that haven't won a final since 2009. If we don't turn up, like if we turn up and play to our optimum best and Spurs are better, I can just shake your hand and say, well done. But if we barely create a chance, if we just leak weak goals, if there's no cohesion, if you can see it, if we're not running hard, if we're not trying to assert any authority on that game, that will annoy me more so than the actual loss itself, if that makes sense. I feel like that level of experience you're right with, we should be asserting that in this game. And you would like to think, and I said this also on the United stand, I do want us to be a bit scared and nervous though. Because I think when you're scared, when I listen to any athlete really talk, when you're not scared, when you're not nervous, I think that's one of the reasons we beat City last year. I feel like City went into that game, yes, a little bit hungover, but why were you hungover? Because I think you thought we'll beat United. I really do think that you underestimated us. And that's the one thing I hope we don't do is go into this final and think, I know it's always a joke, but the sort of the Fergie team talk when we were losing 2-0 or 3-0, whatever it was, away at, all those years ago at White Hart Lane. Guys, it's Tottenham. I don't want any of that talk or that attitude. We're not that Man United team anymore. We are a shadow of that. So I don't think we can go into this thinking it'll be, we're not. It's not like when we played Millwall in 2004 or Wigan in 2006 in a final. Even when we played Ajax in 2017, I just looked at it and went, we have that many better stars. We will win. I don't feel like that, but we have got a good chance. I'm not going to sit there and deny that there's no chance that we win this or anything mad like that. I couldn't personally do it. This year says breaking news: Ineos cancel United's barbecue party, and they will instead get one Nando's coupon and a can of Ribena. I am going to defend Ineos though with not having a parade. They've literally publicized this, but it's how the media dropped this bit. The reason we're not doing a parade isn't even out of arrogance and it's too small for us. It's because the club have said we've just made 200 people redundant. It would literally be insulting to drop 200K on a fucking parade. Like, you can't. That's where I get annoyed at the media. You're condemned for saving money, but then when you don't want to spend money to celebrate something, which you said you haven't got, they call you out for being tight. It's like, no, the reason why we have to make people redundant is because the club overindulged for 12 fucking years and fucked itself financially. Not you, the super chat is funny, but the media, fuck off, you muggy. I nearly swore bad then. Kind of disagree with you. Yes, fans do inherit the club's rivalries, but growing up in places like Jamaica, they are only United and Liverpool fans you interact with. You develop those rivalries. I understand that, and I do get it, and I do agree. I grew up though in London, and there was multiple teams in my schools, but I still inherited consciously my club's rivals because I chose to support a club that wasn't from where I am from. And all I'm saying is, I get you've got mates that you grow up and have rivalries with, but I just believe, my belief is, and it's an unwritten rule, it's just my belief. I believe that for me, the biggest three rivals I have when it comes to Man United are Liverpool, City. Arsenal probably slightly overtake Leeds because of how long they've been out of the big time. But when in the 90s, when Leeds were a serious team, I disliked Leeds far more than Arsenal. Why? Because that was the traditions of the football club, and I inherited them personally. The same as I speak to United fans that talk about, I don't even like all the talk about our academy and this and that. I don't even like any of it. Then why'd you pick this club? If you're not someone that wants to develop young players, you shouldn't pick Man United as a team to support. For me, I look at it this way. It's a bit like especially when you're not from a town or a city, because you can pick anyone. If you're someone if your dad says you can only pick a local team, you're limited. And pretty much what we all do is what our dads and our mums tell us to. My dad would have told me and my brothers, you got to pick a local team to us in East London. It would have been West Ham, Orient, Tottenham or Arsenal that we picked being in that area. And it would have limited our choices. But I believe if you choose something that's outside of that remit, it's like if you become a stepdad. You can't become half a stepdad. You either become an actual dad to that kid and you do all the things a normal dad would, or you don't do it at all. So for me, when I picked Man United, that was a club I chose to love. I've got to adopt all the rivalries. But I do hear you can have personal issues with other people, but I'd always put my club above my personal battles with mates. My football club is more important. I probably could have answered that a lot quicker, but there we go. Which midfield profile complements Ugarte the most?
Well, I've said before, I don't think Ugarte works in this system. So I've already said plenty of times, I think Balaba's the guy United should go all out for in that midfield. I've said it a lot. I think we might have spoke about it last week, didn't we, Terry? We spoke about United's midfield. I think
Yeah.
Baleba is the one that United should go all out for. Imagine if you had Baleba in that midfield. Man.
He'd be excellent. He'd be.
I didn't watch the game last night because obviously, to be honest, I forgot it was on. Like, there's no one cares in it. But apparently, Baleba last night was very good. What people have said, but I didn't watch it, so it could be cut.
No, he was very, very good. He was very, very good. He was very, very good last night. And listen, a few of you might not like what I said about the rivalry thing, and you're entitled to. You don't. Yeah, by the way, you're allowed, because I'm not an actual gatekeeper. You're allowed to have whatever rival was number one you want. My fervent belief is this, though. Whether you like my analogies or not is fucking irrelevant. I believe you should adopt the club's rivalries and put your club first over your personal rivalries with a friend at school. Personally, that's just my view on it. Imagine Liverpool gets Šeško and United got Gyökeres. Well, there has been some breaking news from L'Équipe in France. And of course, they're close to this because PSG have a look at this. They have stated that Man United will now accelerate a move to sign Viktor Gyökeres after completing the deal to sign Matheus Cunha. United is the first European club to make a concrete move. So a different feel from the Portuguese press. I hope this story is true. I don't know if it is, but I hope it's true. I hope that it's true. And yes,
my take on this one, just quickly,
is
I think what Potsy said earlier on. I think that the reason why you're getting loads of mixed information about Gyökeres is because probably there's about 4, 5, 6 teams all wanting to sign him.
yes.
So you're going to get some sources saying United are accelerating the move. Then you're going to get some people saying Arsenal are going from, then Liverpool are going from, and then everyone's like, what's going on here? I think the truth is Gyökeres is sitting there thinking, I've got the pick of the clubs. I'll get the top cash. And that's why you're getting loads of information.
And it's not just Gyökeres either. That'll happen with Rodrygo. That'll happen with potentially Eze. That will happen. It will keep happening because everyone wants the same positions.
And I think Sporting and Real Madrid are partly behind this because Sporting, there's not a buyout clause. There's a gentleman's agreement. They'll let him go. What Sporting need is what Sporting really want, ideally, is Gyökeres agreeing personal to, and this does exist. I know people that hate transfers don't like it, but he could, in principle and verbally, agree personal terms with PSG, with Arsenal, with Liverpool, with Man United. Sporting want that because then what it creates is a bidding war. And that happened with the Sandro Martinez at Ajax between our two clubs a few years ago. You know, United and Arsenal, I think initially we're going to get him for around 40 million. It ended up being nearer 60 because both teams started bidding. So there's a lot of it. And that's what I love about the transfer window. It's amazing. So awesome. An Arsenal, City and United fan discussing.
On,
cheers, mate.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, Ali.
I thought it was going to be a sarcastic thing, and then it just stopped.
Yeah, I did. I think it's a compliment. Yeah,
it's a rare compliment, man. Shout out Ali, innit?
It is a rare compliment. It is. Potts, if Arsenal get all their targets but only won the League Cup, would you be happy with that?
The minimum expectation for Mikel Arteta is to win a trophy and compete for the league. So yes. Just win me a trophy. Please just win me a trophy.
But you say that, though. But that brings me on to this super chat here that says, Dan, why are your fans flexing their points? I mean, what we have seen is AFTV today talk about Liverpool's floor being your ceiling and how last season's team, you know, got more points, you know, than this year's team. So is it really about winning trophies or is it about the amount of points you get?
Apparently, it's about the number of points you get. Last season, we should get a trophy, apparently, because we outscored Liverpool this season. Like, even our managers come out and said it, by the way. Oh, in the last 2 seasons, we have more points than Liverpool. Who gives a damn? Liverpool have got a Premier League trophy. We don't. Yeah? I don't care if we win the league on the lowest points tally ever recorded. If we've won it and lifting the trophy, who gives a damn? Like, it's embarrassing, man. Like, some of these people, I don't know if they're trolling, if they're trying to get engagement, if they're trying to get traction, stuff like that for me. And look, I love AFTV and I do a lot with them. That is an embarrassing social media post. And, you know, guys like Igal, guys like Babs, who are genuine, in my opinion, trolls on Twitter, I get it. I understand what they're doing. They're winding up and they're bantering. But for me, that is absolute waffle. Who gives a damn how many points we got? Let's be real. When you lift the trophy, you don't get your medal. You don't turn it around and go, you scored 92 points this season. It doesn't say that, does it? It says Premier League champions. So for me, that's what I want to be seeing. And this is why a lot of people, oh, he hates Arsenal. He hates Arsenal. I get this a lot. That is the reason I find it incredibly cringy when I see people on Twitter trolling about stuff like that, trying to give it to Liverpool fans who've just won a league by saying, didn't get as many points as us, though, did you, last year? Didn't get as many points as us. Do you think they're going to go, oh, no, it's gutting? Do you know what? Take that trophy back, right? I don't want it because it didn't get as many points as the losers of last year. Do you think any Liverpool fans going to give an absolute damn that they didn't get as many points as Arsenal last year? I can't believe it's even a talking discussion point. I don't know what you boys think. I mean, that is embarrassing.
Bro, I think it's crazy, bro. And it's like, this is why your fan base just gets roasted all the time, innit? You know what I mean? Because, like, it's just ridiculous. It's just crazy. I couldn't believe my eyes when I seen it. Real talk, man. I was like, what the hell? Am I drunk or something?
I was just stunned,
I get why they've done it. But first of all, let me start with this because it will wind people up if I don't. I wouldn't have posted it. I think points totals are an irrelevance, and I've said it on a consistent basis. They're a barometer. So let me just say that they're a barometer for how good you are. For instance, like I'd love Man United next season to be 20 or 30 points better. That being said, we might not need to be 20 or 30 points better to grow because everybody else might drop more points. As long as that position gets better, I'm relatively happy. I know why Arsenal fans are doing it though, because points totals were made this big thing. There were Liverpool teams that didn't win the Prem, but Liverpool fans spent 3 or 4 years saying that Liverpool team that came second on 98 points, the Liverpool team that got 90 odd points and didn't win the league, those teams were supposedly better than 95% of Premier League champions ever, even though they didn't lift the trophy. And I kind of get the banter. However, for me, this was an opportunity for Arsenal to kind of stop it. You know, they talk about like local rival gangs and one person gets hurt, so then they hurt someone in retaliation and the cycle never stops. This was an opportunity from a banter point of view to stop the cycle of talking about points totals. I don't care. I don't think City's best team was their Centurions. City's best team were their treble winners. I don't care about the points total because the points total, who was challenging them that year in the Premier League? When they actually won the league many weeks earlier, it became it's a target we're going to go for. When Liverpool won the league, they started getting pissed and going to Dubai. So therefore, this team doesn't care about a points total, which is why I can't look over the history of the Premier League and go, well, the team that won the league with the most points has to be the best. Because you're removing the game state, you're removing the situation, you're removing what a team decided to do. There's probably been teams in the 90s and in the noughties that won the league with 5, 6, 7 games to go that was in the mid-80s who just went, fuck it, we're going to party now. Had they gone, no, guys, let's try and get 100 points, maybe they would have achieved it. I'm taking nothing away from the Centurions. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have done. I'm just stating that the obsession with points totals is crazy. Because for me, if I have 95 points this season and come second, and the following year I have 85 points and win the league, it's a better season. It's a better season. It doesn't even mean I'm a worse team. Maybe 5, 6, 7 other teams got better that year. So I dropped more points. Doesn't mean my team's regressed just because the points total is different. It's the weird analysis and assumptions that come with the points. And I felt that Arsenal fans had the opportunity here to kind of take the moral high ground, stop it, and sort of draw a line, because Liverpool fans are probably the ones, more so than City, that spoke about points meaning the most. You didn't need to say anything. The way they've reacted to the end of this season proves that was all nonsense. You could have just left it. But instead, AFTV, and again, I no disrespect to Robbie because Robbie didn't post it. He's also, I guarantee Robbie's the guy that said, fucking delete that straight away when he saw it. For me, it was just a ridiculous thing to post because points totals, in terms of differentiating who the best is, I find it cringe as fuck. I really do find it cringy. Really cringy.
It really is, man. It really is. And yeah, well, look, we've had a bad season, man. If you want to talk about points, the season that Wenger got sacked, he finished 2 points clear of what we can potentially finish on this season. If you want to go by points, yeah. We sacked a manager that got more points than we're going to get this season. If you want to go by points, make that make sense. We sacked Wenger when he finished on 75. We can only finish on 74. So, honestly, if you go by points, don't matter. Do you know what we come? We come fifth like last that year. We come second, or was it sixth?
Exactly. And
it's all crap, man. It's all
and seasons change, and there's some you might. This is why, again, points play a role, right? But it's the obsession with them that I find cringy. Let's say next season, City are tracking towards 100 points again. Actually, they're going to get 105. But then they're in the semi-finals of the Champions League, and they're deep in the FA Cup as well. You may find go right. We've basically won the league now. We're going to win it. They're going to rotate for those league games, so they might start dropping points, and then they end up on 95. It doesn't mean that team then goes on to win a treble. It's better than the Centurions. Getting 100 points wasn't their priority. Winning other trophies were. It's just because, again, fans did it for a bit of banter, and the media run with it for 2 or 3 years to try and shit on old Fergie teams, and it's become part of football conversations, and it's wrong for me. It's just ridiculous. So yeah, AFTV, that was a big L, man. Absolute L indeed.
Have they deleted it?
Yeah, it's been deleted. Yeah. No, I'm glad. And you know, it probably is. Robbie probably saw it and went, "What the fuck's this?" Because look, the company's too big, and it is a massive channel and a massive company. Robbie ain't sitting there overlooking every little decision that's done each day. It was just, yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. According to Pep, the Community Shield is a trophy. Funny how nobody is cooking Pep for that, but Arteta says it. The world burns down.
That's because Pep's won about fucking 25 trophies in his career, mate. Pep can do what he wants.
No, they're both stupid saying it. They're both
Pep can do whatever he wants, mate. Whatever he wants.
They're both embarrassing saying it, man. They're better than that.
Do you think if the Community Shield got rebranded as the English Super Cup or the Premier Super Cup, do you think, and maybe they even changed the trophy and it was like an actual trophy, do you think if they did that and got a bit of more money behind it, you could change its perception? Because every other country and Europe, everyone takes the Super Cups in those countries really seriously. We honestly treat it like a friendly game.
We do treat it like a friendly game, man. But like, I don't think, because of how long it's been a bit of a dead trophy, I don't think even a rebrand would change it, man. Like, bro, I've been there, man, at that stadium for Community Shield games, and it ain't cool, man. You know what I mean? I'm actually buzzing that we're not in that competition, bro.
When was the last time, Roby, you weren't? I can't remember.
2020, I think.
What? Because you didn't win the FA Cup.
It was the year that Liverpool won the league, wasn't it? Because we didn't win the league and we didn't win the FA Cup.
Yeah, well, that was when it was Liverpool and Arsenal, yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was Liverpool, Arsenal, because we won the FA Cup in the COVID year. Yeah, so COVID was the last time. So you've had 5 solid years, bro. 5
years of we've only won one. It was this year, I think.
Yeah,
it was the year that we didn't win anything. So, it's just,
we beat you on pens last year. I remember that as well.
Yeah, you beat us on pens, man, when you got that like scruffy deflected goal.
Yeah, right at the end. I was there for that. I was like, "Are we going now? Oh, we're in somehow. There we go. Penalties it is." And then I think De Bruyne missed, didn't he? I was like, "Wow." So yeah, crazy.
It's just dead, man. Because like
it is dead.
Fans. Obviously, it's easier for people who live in London, right? But like fans up from the north, we have to travel all the way down to Wembley. 3.5 hours, 4 hours. Spend all that goal, and then like. The players don't even try properly, because it's like they basically treat it as
Stop being a moaning povo, please. Stop moaning.
No, I'll be real talk. I'm buzzing that we're not in that trophy anymore. Like.
You're a YouTuber. I know how rich you are. You got money, bruv. You're good.
Bro, it's not about the money, innit? It's about the principle, bro.
L stands for life and balling, bruv.
It's about the principle, man.
Yeah, I get you. Fonzie here says their floor is our ceiling. Big up. Question. Sorry, big up.
No,
I guess I won't mention the years we lost with 92 and 97 points, right?
This is facts, bro. This is a great super chat. This is something else that they haven't spoken about. Is when Liverpool actually did get the hump when they got it, and they were told to shut up and stop crying. So how can we then now jump on the bandwagon?
That's
got
why
89 points.
That's why Arsenal fans, the ones who jumped on this, have missed an opportunity because sort of celebrating winning the league, like Liverpool have, where they've had a relatively average points total in the end, like spits in the face of remember the phone calls into TalkSport? We got 97 points. We should have a special trophy made for us. It was embarrassing that Liverpool did that because the points totals weren't that important. But instead of just letting it die with them, you've kind of picked up that mantle on it. It's crazy. A crazy decision. Sometimes you just let them things die. I agree with Dan. Why not reach some points tally? Sorry, why not reach same points tally this season? We've actually regressed.
We have massively regressed.
Yeah, but you know what's hilarious, Femi, big up Femi, It's like, I remember Arsenal fans last season saying, if, like, who are Arteta in? I'll be Arteta out if we regress. Arsenal now regressed, and they're now making excuses and like, oh, injuries, oh, this.
But do you know why it is, though? It's because people always say dumb things. Like Merson said it the other day. They just, honestly, I don't even think Merson thought of this. It's the producer watching fan content going, say this, please. If he ain't second, by Christmas, you've got to sack him. Well, hang on, though. Hang on. This is why it's dumb to make a statement like that. You could be second and 15 points off top. You could be fourth and be 2 points off top. It's ludicrous. It's stupid. Fans do it. I'll sack him if you don't win the league. What if, again, points to, what if you come second on 99 points, right? Win the FA Cup, only lose one game all year, and you're amazing at playing football? That would be that. Saying then context. The word context has been killed from all kind of content nowadays. People hate it. And I was guilty of it years ago. I'd make them statements and go, nah, if he doesn't do this season, he's got to go. And then the season would happen. Things would happen in the season. And you go, oh, my mind's changed. And then everyone cooks you for it. Just stop saying stupid shit. Say how it is. I'm going to assess it at the end of the campaign and see where the Arteta Routers did it. We get into a title race, I'll back him. They changed their mind. Because in the reality, they were like, no, that weren't enough to make me feel like I was going to back him. They thought it would, and it doesn't. These like very vague, sweeping statements are just ridiculous when it comes to
the thing is, you get them, and then like Igal, big up to Igal. Everyone knows Igal's my guy. He will say, if Arne Slot dares to finish above Mikel Arteta, he needs to get sacked. Arne Slot wins the league. He doesn't want to sack him. Why not? I just like him. I just like Arteta.
At the same time, see, but for me, I agree with you. I agree with you, and you get called out for it. But we all say things we don't really mean. And I'll give you an example. You two aren't dads, are you?
No.
Most parents have either said it or thought it at a time. Shut up as I'll throw you out a window to their kid. You don't actually, 99.99999% of us don't mean it. Like, you say things in your head. You'll
say, I'm going to kill you when you get home.
Yeah. You've said it to your brothers, your friends. We've all said it. That's what that kind of comment is. If this happens, I'm done. Do they actually, and that's why it's important when people say these things, try and have a conversation. Do you actually mean that? Because I guarantee if you'd have had that conversation when he said it, he'd gone, nah, not really. I'm just frustrated if it happens. And I think that happens a lot. I think people that are like, Arteta out, that go, if he does this, I'll back him. It's because they don't believe he'll ever do that. And then he does. And they're like, shit, I didn't mean it.
Yeah, but Terry, right, if they don't win anything next year and he stays, that's not serious, is it?
Listen, I've said this last season, and I've said it this season. His job needs to be on the line. He needs to be he's at the precipice of winning, but it's been many years. He should be on the edge of being sacked if they regress further, if they win no trophies, if the football don't improve. I'm talking collective things here. Of course, they have to look beyond him. That's absolutely fair. It is absolutely fair. I just don't think a statement of if he ain't second on Christmas Day, he should be sacked. What if they're smashing? What if they're in the semi-final of the League Cup, smashing it in the Champions League, and only 3 points off top, but in third? Like, the statement from Merson will then get you thrown at him. Hang on, Merson, you said you're celebrating how good the season is. You said if he weren't second at Christmas, he's got to be sacked. It then just becomes like an argument over semantics and people being.
I agree. I think that comment from Merson is a bit stupid, because you could be third on Christmas and then you could go win the league, right? So I think give him another season, if that's the plan. But if they don't win anything next year, and he doesn't leave, I think at that point, it's like, I think Arsenal are more. It's not Arsenal anymore. It's Mikel Arteta FC. Is what
I've said it. These jobs should be on the line. I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all with that. It's the weird stuff, though. We spoke about this yesterday, Potsy. I would rather qualify for the Europa League because we've got more chance of winning it. I think that's a crazy
that is something I couldn't get with. And I know the people I'm quite close with, Yardman, Lee Gunnar, some of the people that have said that. I don't agree with that. It's up to them. I don't agree with that.
I agree with some of the things they say as well. I just think that as an example doesn't make any sense to me as an outsider looking in.
Also, we've just got to the semis of this Champions League.
Also, I see some Arsenal fans online, and I'm not sure if it's Yardman or Lee, because I haven't seen them say this, but I've seen a lot. Oh, we shouldn't be spending any more money on this squad now. He's had enough. What? So just, he isn't being sacked and you still want no money to be spent. That means you're very likely to, that means you're going to regress, right? Which then means the new manager coming in has got more work to do. At least make your squad better. And then if you foul, the new guy comes in where you've got an amazing squad.
I understand if they say, I don't want Arteta to be the guy in charge of the funds now.
Yes. That's correct. And again, I did a video and I got called out for this. Why do you always big up Arsenal? And I went, you ain't fucking listen to it. I think the title was, is this stupid or scary? It was something along those lines. And it was when I was reading about your sporting director coming in, but your manager picking him. And I said, if Arsenal do this, you're in big trouble. If Arsenal allow the manager to pick as in I'm picking who I want, and the manager, as in Arteta, is kind of above him power-wise, you're in big trouble. Berta needs, and he ended up being Berta that came in, he needs to be controlling of that situation. In fact, what you've got to hope for as Arsenal fans, that he has the power to sack Arteta. That's what you need. You need a hierarchy of control. And again, that was sort of people like, well, that, yeah, I want that as well. Yes, exactly. And that way, you're not going to have Arteta picking players, because I don't think managers in the modern day game are very good at picking players. I really don't think they're good at scouting and picking the right player. So that I completely agree with. This year says, kind of like just winning a trophy makes no sense. If Arteta won the Carabao Cup, the goalpost would move. It's only the Carabao Cup.
No. Hang on a minute, right? Because like
some people would.
I think that like he needs to win something, right? Because at the end of the day, that is the aim of the game. So that's why I said if Arteta don't win anything next year and he stays, for me it becomes Arteta FC, not Arsenal FC. However, that can change, because if Arsenal was to win the Carabao Cup next year, but then finish 4th or 5th, some people might go, well, is that right? Like, well, some people will favour, depends what you favour. Some people will favour having more of a title challenge. Some people will favour more trophies. So it depends, isn't it? But like for me, Arsenal right now, beggars can't be choosers, isn't it? No, this is a team that's never won the Champions League. Yeah, deep this for a second, yeah. This is the 3rd biggest club in England, right? They've never won the Champions League. They've not won the Premier League in over 20 years. This manager's won 1 trophy 5 years ago, spent nearly 800 million quid, and now he's trophyless in 5 years. Like, this is why Arsenal's such an interesting topic, and everyone has such strong views on it, because they're such a big club that don't win anything. It's very interesting to talk about.
And I also agree that in some respects, Wayne, the goalpost should move to a certain extent. So any Arsenal fan that doesn't like Arteta, that's saying any trophy and its success and I'll praise and forget all the other bad things in a season, fair enough. If they move the goalpost, they've got to be called out for their own individual hypocrisy. But if next season Arsenal regress and come 10th and are awful in the league, but do well on the Carabao Cup run and win it, there is grounds to sack him even though he's won a trophy. Because your league form, and I'm only being consistent with what I've asked for with my club, your league form is your bread and butter. And winning trophies is important. But again, your consistency in the league and how especially if you get to the end of the season, you go, I think we're going to get even worse next season. The dressing room looks in trouble. The manager's lost his way. It's not just about winning a trophy. It isn't just about having good league form. When you've been at a club as long as Arteta has, when you spent the money Arsenal have, when you've been in a good place for 2 or 3 years like they have, it becomes about league consistency and winning trophies. You can't treat every team and club the same way at every moment, because Man United are in the doldrums. So we've got to create some consistency first. But where Arsenal are, you look at their game state, he has to be judged on his league form and his league position and his the sort of ability of Arsenal to win the league and the trophies that he does or doesn't win. I don't think it's either at this particular stage of his career, personally. If Arsenal weren't wank, Liverpool don't win the league early and have to try their best until the last games. So they hit 90 points they were on course for.
Good point.
Exactly. Which is why when we go back through history and go, well, this team got 93 points. It's better than that team that got 82 points. But the team that won 82 points was 15 points clear with 10 games to go. So they took their foot off the gas. It doesn't equate to it being better. We've got to stop this bullshit. It's bad for football. Turgid, set piece department, long throw backwards, football in S6, weak mentality in big games, non-rotation of players, all to do with Mikel, not the board.
Fair play, Ricky. Fair play.
It is, but I do think part of it's on the board. Arteta's got to be blamed, but you need board members to go. I'll give you an example. I'm being consistent to my own club here. I didn't blame Ten Hag for not implementing his style. I blame the people running our club not forcing the fucker to. At the end of the day, KJ works for me. KJ's doing a bad job. He's got to take responsibility. If I allow him to keep doing a bad job, to not run things properly, to not deliver things on time, if I keep allowing him to do it, it falls on me. So Arteta has made the mistake, but your board and the people that run your club they have got to be held to account if
Well,
he
the
ain't
owners are
making
the
those
same as
changes.
well.
It's a knock-on effect, and Arteta deserves a criticism. But if Arteta's not going to change it, you guys need to look in the club on who can make him change it. It's so important. It's so important. Because you said you want to win any trophy. Yeah, I do. But I also look at the league form. Yeah, but you look at the league form too. Guardiola has outscored Doku and Savio combined. That is crazy. That is crazy.
That's true.
That is crazy.
Is that for real? No
Get that
way.
super chat off the screen, man.
No, yesterday I heard that
He's a City fan, by the way. James is a City
No,
fan.
I know he is. I know he is. But I want to see it, James. Get rid of that, man. I'm in a good mood here.
You know,
That game, man.
Correa is apparently the top scorer for Chelsea as well. I heard that yesterday.
Oh, it's a left back revolution, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Correa is the top scorer for Chelsea, apparently. Charlie told me that yesterday. I couldn't believe it, man.
Femi says, as long as he gets into Europe, these gutless owners won't sack him. But again, if that's your view, if that is your view, then your focus shouldn't be Kai Havertz. Your focus shouldn't be Saka. Your focus shouldn't be Arteta, the set piece coach. Your focus should only be the owners. Because
100%.
what this dictates is that it's like with Man United fans. A lot of them are stupid. We always go after the managers, but yet once they like a manager, it's the board ain't good enough. They don't care about us winning. Well, then the manager should never be the focus. Because if the one common denominator is your owners don't care to get to that level, there's no point kicking off about a manager per se. Focus on your owners, Femi. That's what you have to do. But I will say this. There's very little traction on TikTok. There's very little traction on X. There's very little traction on YouTube for going after owners. Very little. Managers and star players, it's where all the attention.
Yeah, but that's because it's a lot harder to get rid of an owner than it is to get. I mean, you've been trying for 20 odd years.
No, I agree. But if we're going to be, if you're someone that some people believe it's the manager, some people believe it's the players. That's fair. I've got no issue with that. But anyone who says it's the owners, I don't want to see them moaning about the manager every week. I want to see them moaning about the owners. It becomes tiring. But you don't trend on TikTok when you're talking about owners. Would you like a playoff league final like Serie A? They're thinking about bringing that into France, aren't they? France are thinking about bringing a playoff game in.
Yeah, but that's because that league's dead in terms of a title excitement because PSG farm the league. No, I don't want to see that in English football.
That's why it's never been my focus. You mean the manager? Although owners, yeah, I hear you. I wouldn't like it in the Premier League. No, I wouldn't. It's the play style that makes me want Arteta out. That's fair. Listen, and that's
personal preference, isn't it?
That's a fair comment. I wouldn't argue with that personally. We've already done that super chat there. Look, boys, it's a great show as ever. Appreciate you coming on.
We didn't even cook Chelsea today as well, man. So we'll save that for next week. And best believe, if they don't win that Conference League final, we need a special edition Potts LB Chelsea cooking session. The whole stream is just about cooking Chelsea. We'll rattle the Chelsea fans in the chat. But for today, we rest.
We rest. Listen, boys, always a pleasure.
Just quickly as well, Gyökeres is the top scorer in 2025, apparently, not this season. So, yeah.
Oh. Steve, also, breaking news, Steven Gerrard is in talks to go back to Rangers. Hang on, so I've just seen this from Postecoglou. The headline is, Postecoglou, I'm not a clown. Well, I want to know, how long's the video? How long is this? Come on, load, son of a bitch. I'm going to go listen to it in a second. Oh, it's like a couple of minutes. I'm going to go watch it myself. Listen, boys, always a pleasure. To all of our viewers, a big thank you to each and every single one of you. Please make sure the like button has been smashed. This is going to redirect you to Footy Judge Mo's channel, so go and support him over there. I'm back later. I'm doing a watch-along tonight for the City game, so make sure you're tuning in. Come on, Bournemouth. Let's ruin their season further. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. See you in a bit. Peace.